Hi, thank you for joining me today on my channel as we take a look at original World War I Army Puttees. Stay with me. Again, I want to thank you for joining me today on my channel. I really appreciate it. Uh, Real quick, I want to do a shout out to my patrons on Patreon. If you're unfamiliar with Patreon, it's where people go to donate money to support a creator or artist or something like that. And I do have a Patreon account, and my patrons get exclusives. They get early release videos, but they also get the monthly in-depth videos where we closely examine the artifacts that were discussed in that particular month. So if you like that kind of stuff, then consider doing that. So what is a puttee? Now, if you're familiar with my channel, I always go into the history before I talk about its use. So a puttee, the term puttee means bandage in Hindi, which that alludes to why it was adopted when it was adopted. At one point, England had India as a colony. And when the British soldiers were over there, they adopted a lot of different things from the native Indians. One of the things that they were really impressed with was the puttee, which is a leg wrap, essentially. And they would spiral it around their legs, and it would do some pretty awesome stuff for them, especially in a desert or dirty environment. Now, today, we may look at puttees seeming like that's just too old school, there's no point in it, especially with our modern footwear and our modern materials that we use to keep our legs warm, to keep our legs dry, keep stuff out of our boots and protect us from briars and brush. But historically, they were used for those very purposes. And the idea of leg wraps go back centuries. You know, if you think about it, puttees, in the sense of what they are as leg wraps, they were used during the medieval times. They were used by the ancient Romans. Even before socks, people would wrap cloth around their feet and wrap it up their leg and tie it off. So this idea of puttees is really old. But it was kind of forgotten as new advancements came along. But ironically, in the 1800s, again, when England was colonizing India, and they saw the uniforms that the soldiers were using and how it benefited them in an environment like India, where you have jungles, you have briars, you have brush, you have dirt, you have sand, you have rocks. Like it adapts well to a wide range of circumstances. And it came into use during World War I. And the United States troops, seeing the British use it and seeing, of course, that other cultures use puttees, they started adopting it themselves. Now, later on, they dropped the puttees. But for the most part, they were worn by both U.S. troops and British troops. And other troops had some other forms of various leg protection. So why did the Army opt for puttees instead of boots? We got to think about the costs, right? Cost of leather, of the construction and everything to outfit hundreds of thousands of people. That's going to get kind of expensive. Cloth is a lot cheaper than leather, and it honestly takes less effort to make them. If you found this information useful and interesting so far, if you like artifacts and antiques and it's been of some value to you, please go ahead and click the like button. That way others find it and it becomes useful to them and it helps push this channel forward. I really appreciate it. All right, so now we're going to show you how to put these on. So the nice thing about these puttees is they were made by the Fox company. And they're, generally speaking, pretty high-end and reserved for officers because officers had to purchase everything themselves. Now, Fox puttees, They're about 9 foot long and about 5 inches wide, and it has a cloth tape that you're going to see that's quite useful for tying them on. But they also mark each puttee with a brass, I guess you'd call it a stamp or something, but there's a brass tag. That's what I'm looking for. A brass tag, each one with a letter. This one has L, so you know that this is for the left, and the other one has an R, so you know it's for the right. Now, the goal is to try to wrap this around and not have like a stair step. And my legs are much larger than what the average soldier's leg was during World War I. So I'm going to give you some hints on how to alleviate that stair stepping that's going to happen. But Fox did try to take that into account when they made these. And when they were milled out and produced, they were steamed and put on a leg form. And they've got a little bit of a curve, as you can see. And that curve helps it get wrapped without stair stepping. Okay, so again, my shoes are too low to actually put these on correctly. Generally, your shoes would be about here, right above your ankle bone, and your puttee would cover that to help keep the rocks and the dirt and the muck and everything else out of your shoes. So you're going to start by holding it on your left side. You got to remember that people, especially in the military, it's a right-handed military, you want the end with the tape to be finishing up on the inside of your calf. And that would be a triangle or a point, if you will. That should be on the inside so it doesn't get snagged on anything on the outside of your leg. So you're going to wrap it 2 or 3 times around. And since it's wool and it's kind of like a Velcro, the fibers are going to lock in on itself. After you do it 2 or 3 times, the puttee, at least this particular puttee, since it is curved and tries to alleviate the reverse bandage technique, it naturally wants to roll upwards. Now you want to pull it tight, but you don't want to pull it so tight that it's going to cut off circulation. It's one of the problems that soldiers ran into, is when they applied these things. They did it in such a way that was tight, and it ended up helping not alleviate trench foot, but actually complicated trench foot quite a bit. All right, so I'm already starting to do this stair step. So what I can do, show you, to do a reverse bandage, you're going to take your roll and you're going to go at an angle like so. So there's going to be an angle there, and ideally you want this to happen where your leg kind of pushes out or starts to curve. You don't want to do it on the front, because the whole point of the reverse bandage is to go accentuate or basically support your leg and allow movement. And since the front of your leg here is rather stiff, you got your bone that's really close, there's not a lot of movement that happens there. However, there's a lot of movement where your muscles are as it contracts. And since I did that, I can continue rolling. And it's going to start stair stepping right here again. So I'm going to take my finger, I'm going to fold it on the side of my leg, and again fold it over like so, then wrap it around. Generally, I'm in the clear after doing it twice. I have rather large calves, and there we are. As you can see, the point is on the inside of my cap. So now if there's branches or other things, it's not going to get snagged off. The Fox Puttees are also marked here. And it says Fox, Wellington, Somerset, FIP patent 14,214-1909. So now you got all of this cotton tape. So what are you going to do with it? You're going to wrap it around your leg several times. I try to keep it in line with the tape that's directly under it. And if you do it right, you have just a little bit of a tag. And I tuck this underneath all the tapes, right in front of the point, like so. I have it down. Makes it easy to take off and you're good to go. And I've never had this come undone hiking and tramping in the woods all day. So that stays on. And now, as you look, it's nice and clean, and you shouldn't have the stair-stepping problem. And it looks good. All right, so I hope you enjoyed watching that and learning about puttees, how to put them on, and maybe you want to go out there and get yourself some. If you are interested in getting a pair of these, then check out my affiliate link below. It's a great reproduction. It's not curved, so you're certainly going to have to use the reverse bandaging technique, but it is quality, and it's made over in India, and these guys are the ones who were milling the first ones. So it truly is pretty authentic as far as I'm concerned. But it's a nice thing to have, especially when you're in winter months and you're in the eastern woodlands or you're in a heavily forested area. Like, we got so many daggone briars and brush and mortiflora rose and everything else here in Ohio. Having these things has saved my legs many times. The nice thing is they're easily to brush off. You get a little bit of mud, and they're easy to clean, easy to dry. So give that a little consideration. If you're new to my channel, I'm doing a channel giveaway that you may be interested in. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you liked about the video. Don't forget to like it. But if you like this stuff, if you like history, artifacts, antiques, you like learning about these kind of things, then go ahead and subscribe. But if it's not your thing, then no hard feelings. I appreciate your visit. But once this channel gets up to 1,000 subscribers, we are doing a giveaway. I'm a woodworker, not by trade. I'm a teacher by trade, but I have a lot of hobbies. One of my hobbies is woodworking. So I'm going to give away one of these chisel mallets, also known as a beetle, which is really useful for around the wood shop, or if you go camping or an outdoor use, it's pretty handy to have to drive in those stakes. And that's just it's a nice piece of material culture. It's made from Ohio hardwood that I harvested myself, dried out, and I'm the one who turned it. Also giving away a reproduction 6-inch ruler. You might be wondering, that's kind of an odd thing to do a giveaway for. However, I did a lot of Civil War videos early on, and one of those Civil War videos was discussing a writing kit. And in that writing kit, I have my reproduction 6-inch ruler. So you can add that to your kit, which is really cool. And lastly, I'm going to give away a fid. You might be wondering, what's a fid? Well, you should watch my video about fids, and you can learn all about it. But it's a pretty handy tool, especially in the cold winter months. If you use natural cordage or natural rope, it can get kind of stiff. It can get kind of cold, and it's really difficult to manipulate rope. Having a fid is pretty useful for that and a lot of other reasons. All right, if you have any more questions or you want more information about the puttees or any of the other artifacts that I've done videos on, I have a webpage called honorableoutfitters.com, and on there, on the artifacts page, I give a complete write-up of the artifacts and tell you all about it, throw a bunch of pictures on there of the actual artifact and other historical items that I found, which have, to me, I think is interesting. So if you like the minutia and the detail, you want to learn more, go on there. It's honorableoutfitters.com. Well, that's our time. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Give a kiss and a hug to your loved ones, and I'll see you guys next Sunday. Take care.